Hi, and welcome to Animal Zone. I'm Arthur von Wiesenberger, and this handsome fellow is Mikey, my adopted pit bull. Animal Zone is the A to Z on everything about adoptable pets. Whether you're looking for a bird, a cat, a dog, or even a tortoise, we've got experts who can share their knowledge and insights. So cuddle up with your favorite critter and join us as we explore the Animal Zone. On today's Animal Zone program, we've got some great guests and their four-footed friends, along with a couple of winged ones. You'll meet Tamar Geller, the New York Times best-selling author and dog trainer for Oprah and her pups. We'll be visiting with Larissa Wall, the pet rescue expert from Hallmark Channel's Home and Family. Monty Roberts, the horse whisperer, will make hay about what a horse knows about us. Sally Jordan of the Jordan Winery introduces us to her beloved shelter rescues. If you love photographing your pet, wait till you get photo tips from the top animal shutterbug, Wendy Domanski. The pet psychic Laura Stinchfield will be talking and listening to a myriad of animals, from birds to Bowser. We'll also be talking with tennis legend Jimmy Connors about how he aced his animal adoption efforts. We have that and so much more on this special edition of Animal Zone.
Hi, I'm Carrie Burns, and I'm the Executive Director for the Santa Barbara Humane Society. And what we want you to know is that humane societies are local to each community. No one is associated with the National Humane Society. So when you donate or you adopt, know that everything that you touch is right there in your own backyard. We want you to donate, volunteer, and adopt. For more information, visit sbhumanesociety.org.
Welcome back to Animal Zone. I'm with Tamar Geller, the author of The Loved Dog, and also an amazing behavioralist who trains dogs and the parents.
Yes, the dog's parents.
And you've had a lot of great celebrity parents that you've dealt with over the years, and it's amazing when you bring someone of that stature down to the reality of dealing with a dog, because we all have to deal with dogs on the same level, right?
But I do not believe it's bringing them down to that level of dogs. I believe in them bringing them up to the level of dogs.
Okay.
Because what it is, dogs sees us as who we are. And who we are truly on the inside is way bigger than our bank accounts or our accomplishments, all of that. And I think that's why everybody loves dogs, because they are the real thing. I mean, dogs don't care if you gained weight, if you lost weight, if your show is doing good or bad. If, you know, dogs truly, truly, truly love us. That's why I think love is higher, and bringing everybody high to the level of dogs.
Now, there are certain rules with Rover that we all have to think about. Like, for example, some people won't let a dog sit on a couch.
Yes.
But look at Cricket. I mean, Cricket just looks like she belongs on this couch.
Yes.
How do you decide what rules are good for you and what aren't, and how you should enforce them?
You gotta look at dogs as the way you raise your kids. Everybody have their own rules, and as long as they're within the law, you can do whatever you want with the dog. So a lot of people are calling me and they're like, Tamar, I'm so embarrassed, but my dog is sleeping in bed with me. I know you will be upset. And I'm like, why would I be upset that your dog is sleeping in bed with you? This is your life. Do you want your dog in bed with you? That's okay. The question is, do you always want your dog in bed with you? Because if not, then teach your dog not to be in bed with you. And when you invite them, then they come up.
What's it like to travel with dogs? You do a lot of traveling.
Well, I think it's incredible to go to places with dogs, and the first thing that you want to teach a dog is not to be triggered. Not to be triggered by chairs moving, by things falling, by dogs walking around them. The first thing you need to teach them is how to ignore it. Meaning we all, God, if we will learn as young children how to ignore things that trigger us, like the next Cinnabon after I just had 7 of them, or if somebody is criticizing me unfairly, not to react, or all these things, if we were taught at a very young age, here's the trigger, I'm gonna look at mom, or I'm gonna look at dad, because they got me. So that's the first thing that I teach dogs, how not to be triggered. Because if they're not triggered, you can take them places.
Tamar, it's so great to see you. Thank you for being on.
Pleasure being here, so much fun.
We'll be right back after this. Hey, take a look at these loving animals that you can adopt today. And don't worry, if someone beats you to the shelter, there are plenty more wonderful animals ready to find you and their forever home. Today on Animal Zone, we're in Los Angeles and we're going to visit with Larissa Wall, Hallmark Channel's home and family pet rescue expert. We're going to go to her own home and see what kind of pets she's rescued. So let's go and check it out. Gosh, Larissa, it's so great to be at your beautiful home.
Thank you.
And with all these gorgeous little creatures. Now tell me about the one with the goggles.
Okay, those are doggles.
Goggles, okay,
Goggles for
goggles, got
dogs.
it.
No, this is Piggly, and it's cute and all, and it looks funny, but it really does serve a purpose. She's albino, which means she does not produce the gene to protect her from the sun. Just like human albino exists, so do dogs. And so as you can see, she's got her little pink nose, and she doesn't have any coloring to her, including her eyes, so she's very sensitive to the sun. So the goggles are actually there for a real purpose to protect her eyes.
Are there that many albino dogs that they make these goggles?
You know, yes. Well, and it's not only albino dogs that need them, but for the most part, albino dogs definitely do. They also need sunscreen because their skin can get sunburned just like humans. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't believe albinoism is a very natural trait for dogs, but because of breeding, there are too many of them out there. So she came to me as an albino, and we're just doing everything we can to protect her and keep her happy and healthy, and her lifespan is just like every other dog. There's nothing wrong with her in any way.
And where did you get her?
I got her from a wonderful rescue here in LA called Saving Canine Lives Plus. And I know the woman very well, and she actually posted on Facebook a photo of Piggly and said, can anyone foster, please, please, please. This dog was left at the vet, whoever owned her abandoned her. And I thought, oh, just what I need, another foster. Nope, I'm not doing it. I closed Facebook, And then of course I said, okay, I opened it back up and I said, okay, I can short-term foster if nobody steps up, but I mean short-term, 2 weeks, that's it. Well, nobody stepped up. She came to me for 2 weeks, and I said, forget it, she's not leaving. She fits in the pack, and she's just so darn cute and loving.
Oh, she's great. Now you have there's three more pups here.
Yes. So Muppet, who's hiding, this is little Muppet. She is my first foster failure at this house. I've had other foster failures, but this is my first baby. She came to me through a rescue called Hand in Paw here in LA, and she is older. She's about 7 or so. She's a Maltipoo. She just looks like a forever puppy. And then Maple is also from Hand in Paw Rescue, who's about 4 years old. She's a Shih Tzu mix, as far as we know, and she was a rescue and was being fostered by a family, and they were gonna keep her, and then last minute they decided not to, so I said I'll try her out with Muppet, and the two worked, and that's the end of that one. And then Lady just came to me about a week ago. Lady was actually being sold on Craigslist. Not as a puppy, not a breeding operation per se, but whoever had her decided they could no longer keep her because they lived in an apartment and she was having a little separation anxiety when they would leave, and the neighbors were complaining, and the landlord said, you have 24 hours, you need to find somewhere for her to go. So they posted her that they were selling her, and I contacted them and I said, look, I'm not gonna buy a dog. I don't do that. I do rescue work. However, I can find her a wonderful home if you want to relinquish her. And they said, okay. And so she's been with me a week, and it's interesting because most of the dogs I've brought into my house have come from shelters or rescues, and so their behaviors follow a very specific pattern. But Lady came from a house, and for all intents and purposes, from what we know, a not so horrible house, and so she's taking a little bit longer to adjust. This is kind of a really weird place for her. You know, she's still a little unsettled, where the other ones kind of become really clingy really fast. She's a little bit more standoffish, but she's warming up and getting there and blossoming, and she'll do just fine, and we'll find her a forever home soon.
So Larissa, with all these beautiful pups, what is your limit?
Well, before Lady, I actually had 2 other ones that just went to their forever home last weekend. So that was 5 in the house, which, by the way, isn't legal. So, you know, I'll try not to do that again. But that's my limit, absolutely. I was going a little crazy because, you know, they're on my mind 24/7 when I'm at work, when I'm at dinner. And so it's a lot of responsibility. And having 5 to think about all day, you know, are they okay? Are they in their pen? Did they get out? What's going on? Did they get into a bag of treats that they shouldn't? It's too much.
And besides the responsibilities of having 4 pups, it's also expensive.
I would sometimes wonder where my money goes, and then I look around and I went, yep, vet bills, pee-pee pads, food. I mean, of course, these girls like their good food, which is not cheap, and they go through it like that. Washing just the towels and the sheets and the everything. You know, it costs a lot of money. And so on a realistic level, and for anybody out there who's looking to adopt an animal, you know, be realistic about what you can do. It's not fair to bring more than one in if you can't take care of more than one properly. You know, you really do need to weigh that out. And until the time is right, maybe don't bring a second or a third or a fourth.
Now, we get to watch you every day on Home and Family, on Hallmark Channel's Home and Family, and you have the most wonderful adoptable dogs that come on. Do you ever get tempted to bring one of them home?
All the time. All the time. I love them. It still surprises me, and I know how many great animals there are out there looking for homes, but we get everything that you would want. We get labs, pit bulls, poodles, Maltese, purebreds, cockers, beautiful mixed breeds. I mean, you dream it, we've got it, or we can get it. And it just goes to show that no matter where you live and no matter what animal you want, you can rescue one. Now, it might take a little bit longer than walking into, let's say, a pet store or something, then there they are right there. But it's such a worthwhile wait to find the right one for you. And there are many days that I'm being, you know, the animal's being taken back out of my arms, and I'm like, okay, bye, because I want to take them home. But again, I have to be responsible and not bring them all home.
That's so great. Well, Larissa, you are the pet rescue goddess.
Oh,
Thank you for having us and introducing us to your little babies. They're so great. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after these words. Hey, take a look at these loving animals that you can adopt today. And don't worry, if someone beats you to the shelter, there are plenty more wonderful animals ready to find you and their forever home. And here we are with Monty Roberts, the amazing man who talks to horses, and the horses talk back to you, one way or another, right?
One way or another is the definitive definition of that, because they don't have vocal cords like we do, so there's not the talking as such, but they certainly communicate with us. We just have to know how to read it and how to get back to them, how we feel.
I've watched your videos where you're using hand gestures and body positioning, but I remember you saying you can even tell the pulse of a horse when they first come in the ring.
That's critical. And they can tell ours too. From 50 yards away, they know what your intentions are. They can read your pulse rate, your cortisol levels. They can read the whole thing, your adrenaline levels. And how do I know this? I've worked with over 2,000 horses with heart rate monitors on, so that you can judge their metabolic processes as you work with them. It's an incredible thing to get that kind of education, because when I was in university through the 50s, they didn't even think anything like this existed. World Book and Britannica said there's absolutely no communication between horses and humans. I'll stay with horses now because while I'm dealing with other animals, horses are my life. And now they're changing the books. And I just made a call to my university, which is going to change the books once again. They're going to have to include in the update printings some things that we just never knew before. And it's empirical. There's good, solid evidence of what I'm doing. Britannica and World Book were both here, and they were embarrassed to death. They saw what I did, and I could predict what was going to happen. It's definitive. They can see it with their eyes, and then they thought it was trained. So I said, you bring in horses from somebody I've never met before, and I will tell you what they're saying, they will tell you what I'm saying, and we will have a conversation, and I will predict what they will do with that conversation.
And no breaking. You don't believe in breaking, right?
I struck my last horse in 1949 at the insistence of my father. I don't hit them. There is no violence whatsoever. And my average time, now when you use violence, you can do it. Every horse was broken that way. Broken. And that's what they call it. The breaking period or the break-in period. I don't do that. But when you use that violence, it's 4 to 6 weeks to cause a horse to accept his first saddle and first rider. I go to a public demonstration with 2,000, 3,000, 7,000 people there, and average 27 minutes for a horse to accept his first saddle and first rider. And there's still people, many people, Hall of Fame horsemen out there that say, come on, that's a load of rubbish, a lot of voo-voo stuff, and it's falling out of the sky, and you know, he does it too out behind a barn somewhere. Those horses are all trained. Right. I've done in front of public audiences almost 13,000 horses now. Right close to 13,000 horses. How would you ever look at my schedule and say he's trained all those to do what he tells them to do? No, violence is never the answer. Violence is always for the violator and never for the victim. No one of us was born with the right to say you must or I'll hurt you to any other creature, animal or human. True. That's my mantra.
I love that. If you adopt a lot of horses here, and if you get an adopted horse that has been broken, how do you build that trust back?
This horse I've been working with for the last 3 days, somebody has done something to this horse. He couldn't be this violent. Unbelievable. Without that they'd already messed him up. And he believes human will hurt you. But I was able through communication to show him they might, but I'm not. And I'm going to show you that I'm not. And it took me 3 hours and 15 minutes over a 3-day period to have him completely relaxed. We could go right now and I could walk into the field where he is and he would come to me and I can love on him and put a halter on him and lead him. But I promise you, he would know that I'm not going to hurt him.
Today we're at the home of Sally Jordan. Sally is part of the founding family of the Jordan Winery, one of the great California wines. And she also happens to adopt dogs. So let's go in and say hi to Sally. And so here we are with Sally Jordan. Sally, thank you for having us.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm delighted you're here.
Your home is so beautiful, and we love your wine. But you know what? I know you have a lot of adopted dogs, and they don't whine. They're happy being here because you've been an adopting parent of animals for all your life, right?
All my life, all my life.
So how did it start?
Well, I think it began when I was 3 or 4, and a stray, hungry, homeless dog came along, and I adopted him. He was a spaniel type, and then a stray cat came along, a gray tabby, tiger, and adopted him. And one cat led to another and another dog, and pretty soon I had lizards, and I had an alligator that was given to me by my dental hygienist.
Wait, an alligator? How big?
A baby alligator. I went in to have my teeth checked, and she had it on a little chain with a little gold collar on her shirt, her uniform.
Like a Lacoste shirt.
Exactly like yours, only it was alive and crawling around. And I was fascinated. And she said, yes, it's a baby alligator. My boyfriend in Florida sent it to me. Would you like to have it? I said, oh, I would love to have it. So she took a pin, put it on my little shirt, and my mother picked me up after I'd had my dental appointment. I got in the car and I said, look, Mommy, I have an alligator. And she drove up on the sidewalk. Nearly killed a person.
How long did you have the alligator?
Oh, we had Allie for some time because Allie lived in a terrarium and then outgrew the terrarium. And then we put him in a horse trough that we had in the basement. And Allie grew and grew, and pretty soon we decided, or Mother decided, that his jaws were too big and just right for my finger. And so perhaps we should give Allie to the zoo. So they had a junior alligator exhibit at the Des Moines, Iowa Zoo, and in went Allie. Made new friends.
Wow. So what is this adoption gene? Is it just you love animals that are out on the streets?
Well, they're so needy, and they're so grateful. They're so full of joy and relief when you bring them into your home. And I have always felt that old, damaged dogs appreciate, from the bottom of their little dog hearts, having another chance at life, a good life. 2 meals a day, a warm blanket, a comfy bed to sleep in, a loving hand. And when you first get these dogs and you want to pat them, they cower. It makes me want to cry because they cower. A hand over them always meant a beating. And so it takes several months really to get them to understand that you're not going to strike them in malice. You're going to love them. So you always pet them on the neck, the throat, and the tummy until they get used to your hand.
And of course, the dogs that get to come here at Sally's place probably get extra treats, right? Like a little taste of wine once in a while?
Actually, these are whining dogs. They're not wine dogs. They don't drink wine. But I think they would be well affected. I think it would be a good health food for them. I'm so glad you suggested it, Nipper.
I think
it's a good idea.
You're the best thing for these dogs, and I toast to you, Sally, for being such a great adopter.
Thank you.
Today we're with Wendy Domansky of Wink Face Photography. And Wendy, it's so great to have you on Animal Zone. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And you didn't even bring a camera.
Well, I've got one. We're going to be pulling it out in a little bit. So.
That's what we're going to be showing people today, is how they can take pictures of their pets, how a professional does it. And Wendy, you've been doing photography of animal shelter pets for quite some time.
Yeah, about 3 years or so. I've been doing pet photography.
That must be a challenge when you're dealing with shelter pets, because they're in cages.
Right.
And that doesn't look so enticing, does it?
Right, and that's definitely why I wanted to get into pet photography, is to be able to help out, help get animals in shelters adopted, because you see some of the pictures that some of the shelters post, and by no fault of their own, people are busy, they don't have a lot of time to spend a lot of time on photography, but sometimes you see the animals, they're in the cages, it kind of looks like they're in a prison or in a jail, so really I think the goal is to get a flattering picture of the dog or cat, you know, to help showcase them in a better light so that people can picture, you know, having this animal and,
right,
you know, the happy animal that they can bring home and bring into their life.
Yeah, well, if it looks good, then you might be good, right?
Exactly.
Now, I mean, for those of us who have pets, of course, we take photographs ad nauseum. I have my iPhone filled with photos of my dog Mikey,
yes,
and also the cats. But the occasional really good shot is tricky. And I think that's where technique comes into it. What are some of the tricks that you've used that work to get a great shot of a pet?
Yeah, and every animal is different, so when you get to spend some time with the animal, you learn what their motivation is. Some animals absolutely will do anything for a treat. I have a dog named Wink. She is so food motivated that she will sit there for hours and stare at you if you have a piece of food. Others, to get them to look at the camera, they're definitely motivated by noises, squeaker sounds. That's definitely something that will get an animal to look. The owner, if they are very attached to an owner, if the owner's standing right over my head, that helps in getting the animal to look. So there's a lot of tricks that you
What happens if
have
you
up
get a
your
really
sleeve.
shy animal that's like scared of camera gear? Because
Right.
we actually have had that
Happens.
happen even when we're shooting the show. Sometimes a cat might be spooked by all the lights and
Sure.
strange people. And I've been told that sometimes a camera lens looks like a giant eye to them.
It does.
And
It
that can be
does.
intimidating. Well, Mikey, who we're going to photograph in just a minute, he's very cooperative because he's getting used to being on camera.
He's quite the celebrity, I
Yeah,
see.
he's signing his autographs everywhere he goes. And here's Mikey, our pit bull star, and he's ready for his close-up. So Wendy, how do you start getting to know him, so to speak?
Yeah, so a lot of times I just like to spend some time with the dog just to kind of get to know their temperament. And because I really want this to be a fun experience. If you kind of come up and make it too stressful, then the dogs can sense that. So we just kind of, I like to come up to them, play with them a little bit. If they're a high energy dog, the owner can just kind of let them run around a little bit just to kind of let some of the energy out. And then we get ready for the photos.
Well, I know if I let him go loose on this, he's going to go right to that bag of tricks.
There's lots of goodies in that bag. I'm
He's
not
very
gonna lie.
concentrated on that right now.
Yes, they usually have to have a lot of treats and toys and noisemakers, and there's lots of dog smells on that bag probably right now too, so he's pretty smart.
Yeah.
All right.
So I guess the first thing, if you're going to be doing this yourself, you have to kind of figure out what kind of background. We have a pretty nice, clean background.
Yeah, no,
and
that's-
outdoor lighting, which seems to be pretty cooperative today.
Right, we've got some nice cloud coverage, and so we've got a huge softbox in the sky right now, so nice light.
You probably don't want a lot of distractions when you're photographing a dog or cat, and that means not a lot of people, a lot of animals running around, right?
Correct. Yeah, nice even background, limited distractions. Nothing that won't look attractive in a photograph. Make sure that there's no trees coming out of the dog's head. Make sure there's no garbage cans or anything that won't look attractive in the photo, especially for the shelter dogs. You really want to show them in a nice, soft, pretty environment. When you're, especially when you're dealing with a breed that might have a negative stigma. A lot of times I like to showcase them with a lot of pretty flowers or just something, real nice, soft, neutral, soft, pretty background.
All right. Well, I think he's pretty relaxed.
He looks like he's ready to go.
Yeah.
So the way that I photograph dogs, and if anyone's ever seen, my photos or any professional pet photographer's photos, a lot of times you're going to see the dog off leash, and that's not necessarily the case. Really ever in my photos. The safety is number one concern of mine, to make sure that the dog's safe and on leash. But what we do is we do a lot of Photoshop trickery. So the owner is always standing close by, or somebody's holding the dog out, holding the leash, and then we use Photoshop to remove it. So one more element that you're removing.
So
in
now you see
Photoshop
it, now
too.
you don't, right?
Right.
It's like magic.
And so I always hear people say to me, I could never have my dog's photo taken. He would never stay still, or he or she would never stand still. Well, that's not the case, because we can keep him on a leash, keep him still, keep him safe, and just remove the Photoshop in post-production.
right.
Are we ready for this, Mikey?
I think we're ready.
Are we ready? Okay.
He's ready for the toys that are in there.
Well, we got to work for it first, though, before you get some of the treats. All right, lovely. I think we got some really cute pictures.
Cool. That's fun, and you're fast too. What do you usually think a session should last time-wise with
It just depends. I mean, it's usually about an hour, hour and a half, but sometimes you have 2 or more dogs in the, the photo session, so that makes it a little bit more challenging. I remember I was at a park in Chicago, and I was there with a client and her 2 border collies, and I see this family photographer come in with a family and 2 kids. They were in and out in a half hour, and I was still 2 hours later, rolling on the ground, probably in goose poop and other things. And I'm watching them come in, everyone smiles, they leave, and I'm still running around trying to do all that. So it just depends. It just depends on the person, on the dogs, how much fun we're having.
Well, it seems like some really great tips, and I can't wait to see the pictures you've taken.
Yeah.
And most of all, I think Mikey enjoyed himself, right? Did you have a good
That's the whole
time?
point. We want to make sure that the dog's having fun, because if they're not having fun, you will see it in the photos. You will see it in the photos. And so we want this to be a pleasant experience. We want it to have that fun smile. So when we showcase it as wall art, we can have fun memories of the whole experience.
Mikey, come here. Let's
And patience.
Let's have a seat.
The key is just
Let's
having
sit.
patience.
Let's sit.
I always tell my clients that
Sit. Good sit.
most times
Wait. Now,
things are not going to go well.
No, sit and wait. Are you going to shake hands with Wendy and say thank you? Okay, here comes Wendy. Shake hands with Wendy. Shake. There you go. What a good boy.
Thank you for being such a good model.
He's so good. And
Being such a good model.
And thank you, Wendy, for showing us all these great tips. We
absolutely.
really appreciate it. Remember, it's Wing Face Photography if you want to check out Wendy's talents, and we appreciate you coming on Animal Zone today.
Appreciate you having me. So thank you to you and to Mikey, and can't wait to share the photos with you.
We'll take a break, and we'll be right back here on Animal Zone. Imagine, if you will, a zone where animals can talk to humans. Submitted for your amazement, the Pet Psychic, as we enter the Animal Zone. Today we're at the National Disaster Search Dog Foundation in Santa Paula, California, with our Pet Psychic, Laura, and Gemma.
Yeah, so Gemma is a search dog in training. She's in the beginning of her training, and we're gonna ask her like what she thinks about her training and where she came from. So Gemma, listen. When you came here, you started to learn about how to be more perfect, and you've been learning how to find people. Oh, that's so cool. You had a family, there were kids, and you ran them over. I kind of believe that. You got lost? Oh, bummer. I think maybe an angel helped you get connected with the search dogs, huh? So you could have a really cool job. He says that he wants to tell people that alpacas are not from this region, but we can live here. So, Tyson, what do you think about what happened with you and your mom the other week? What spooked you? Oh, he said he got scared of something that was rustling in the trees, and he thought it was a big bird or a mountain lion. I smell mountain lions here.
Ooh, they are scary.
He says that this place makes him more nervous than his old place. You've been thinking about what to say? That's good. So what have you thought about? Everybody needs to have a dog. I agree. People should know that dogs like you are not scary. People see you and all of a sudden they're scared. And sometimes you're more scared than they are. You're like, why are you scared of me? I'm scared of you. Sometimes people bend over like they're gonna attack you, but really they're just saying hi. That's true, right? It's like that's what happens is sometimes people bend with their torso, huh? And in doggy language, that's kind of scary. Do you remember back, like were you ever in the wild? He said he lived in a place where there were mountains, lots of trees and rivers. He said that they went to this place that was like a big watering hole that they would always go to, and a net came down on all of them.
They're indigenous to New Guinea, this subspecies
Is New Guinea mountainous like
is.
that?
It can be, yes.
And so then what happened to you, do you know? They put you in dark crates? He said, and he was in a crate with a mean bird that he didn't like, and that bird bit him. He said they grabbed him by his legs and they would fling him. Like, why would they ever do that? Like, grab by the...
Trapping methods can be very cruel and inhumane.
Oh, we are so sorry that that happened to you. We are so sorry. Do you know that you're going to be safe for your whole life? Do you understand that? Yeah?
Well, that's great. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got more Animal Zone right here. Stay tuned. Hey, take a look at these loving animals that you can adopt today. And don't worry, if someone beats you to the shelter, there are plenty more wonderful animals ready to find you and their forever home. We're at Care for Paws Wags and Whiskers Festival. This is the biggest animal adoption festival in all of Central California. There are dogs, there are kitties, there are bunnies. There's even a few two-footed people that are ready to be adopted. So let's go and talk to a few of them. It's my turn to take the stage at Wags and Whiskers. I'm emceeing the Best in Show competition with a panel full of previous Animal Zone guests, including Larissa Wall, Carrie Burns, and Laura Stinchfield. Categories for the competition include Best Costume, Best Lookalike, and Most Talented, who happen to have a mixed double match with tennis legend Jimmy Connors. Let's talk with Jimmy about why he cares so much about animals.
First of all, thank you for inviting me today. This has been the most fun, to walk around and to see all the people and their enthusiasm for, to adopt a pet here. It just makes my heart, feel so good that the Santa Barbara and the community here have really pitched in behind this.
Jimmy, you were a great judge. It was hard, wasn't it, judging all those beautiful animals?
It's unfair. It's unfair. They're all a 5. That's the highest you can get, and they all have their own talents. But to go and to go to a shelter and adopt a pet, it's changed our life. My kids, Brett and Aubrey, my wife Patty, and myself, we've had animals from the very beginning, and the way it's affected us, and we love them, but a lot of people forget the love that we get back from them and the care and what they can do for us physically and mentally, that just makes our day better, and we forget about that. We just think we take them for granted so much, and maybe way too much sometimes, but never there, always there, never talks back to us, and it just gives us so much pleasure. It's spectacular.
Well, it's a great thing that you've adopted these wonderful pets, and we really want to help our audience realize that adopting an animal is one of the greatest things you can do, not for only their life, but for your life.
Yeah, but they're waiting. Please go into your shelters and walk in and see that they're waiting there for you, and the love that they have to give. And you walk out of there, your heart will be broken if you don't take one with you. A dog, a cat, anything that fits your lifestyle and your needs, really what you want. Because they're going to fit into anything and in any position.
That's right. It's one of the few things where the score is love, love. Exactly. And we like it.
Yeah. All winners.
All winners.
Pitch in, be a part of it.
Today we're at Rescue Cats with Jeffney Telson. And Jeffney, you have got some new residents here, don't you?
I do. 'Tis the season.
The kitty season,
We have
huh?
lots of kittens, and today I'm going to show you everything from 8 weeks all the way down to just about a week old.
I see a little one just playing there. It looks awfully cute.
Yes, that is little Aphrodite, and sometimes she'll come out, but she looks pretty busy. That's her sister up there, Sweetheart. Let me see if I can.
How old is Aphrodite?
She is 8 weeks exactly.
Oh my.
Yep, she got her first vaccine the other day.
Hi Aphrodite, how are you? Oh, is this scary? Yeah, you knew
Let me
that
get
I
her
love
sister.
kittens. Oh my God. Yeah, welcome to the Animal Zone.
Oh, and listen.
Oh, I'm hearing purring
Yeah,
already.
there's nothing like a purr.
So now when a kitten purrs, does that mean it's happy? Is it anxious?
There's a couple of theories of how they purr physically, and nobody's really knows for sure how they manage to do that.
Oh, these are pretty cute. Now, from the same mom, but totally different in looks.
From the same mom, there could be different dads.
No
and their
kidding.
half-sister is in the next enclosure, and she is pregnant. So we actually had their mother, who had these two this year. We have the daughter from last year, who is pregnant and expecting any minute. You want to go back up there?
I think Aphrodite wants to come play too.
Well, we have someone coming tomorrow that adopted probably 15, 16 years ago from here, and both of those kitties have gone. They have passed, and the couple has young kids. I think they're 7 and 9, and they are coming tomorrow, and I'm going to introduce them to these two.
What's the transitional age from where you are getting the kitten food to where you start to go get cat food?
Well, if you're doing a strictly kitten food, it's at about a year. Although they do have a lot of new foods out there that are called all life stages, meaning that it's based on good nutrition for the cat or the kitten, and it's just a matter of how much you feed them. So we have a formula that we're using here for the first time this year, and everybody seems to like it, and it is in all life stages for cats and kittens. So Arthur, this is Jade. She is 2 weeks old. You can see her eyes are open. Her little ears are almost up. She's still nursing with her mom. You want to hold her?
Oh yeah, and tell me, why does Jade have blue eyes? Little kittens seem to have blue eyes.
All kittens have blue eyes when they're born, and they start to change, if they're going to change, at about 6.5 to 7 weeks. The little Siamese ones, their eyes don't change. They stay blue, but hers as a little tabby will start to change. They'll be either green or gold. But look,
She
she's
is
sniffing.
absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And you know, Jade is my favorite color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to take that bottle in the KMR home, you can.
I think it's a deal. Stephanie, thank you so much.
Very welcome.
This has been the best day at Rescue Cats, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Animal Zone. Bye. Hey, take a look at these loving animals that you can adopt today. And don't worry, if someone beats you to the shelter, there are plenty more wonderful animals ready to find you and their forever home. Well, we're here today with Julian and his two newly adopted pets. And Julian, what are their names?
Flame and Fire.
What they're kind of like German Shepherd, Doberman mix?
German Shepherd Doberman mixes.
Yeah, they're really cute. How old are they, do you think?
I think my dad told me they're 3 months old.
Boy, so you're going to have a busy house now with these two guys, right?
Yep.
And tell me, what do you think is important if you're going to adopt a dog? What are some of the important things you should think about?
Compassion, care, and some free slippers for them to chew on.
Are they eating your slippers up? They are, huh? How about treats? Do you give them treats at all?
Sometimes, but if they be naughty, I put them back in their cage.
Wow, so you're a disciplinarian, huh?
Yeah, but I just put them back into the cage until they calm down for a while.
Now you've grown up with dogs ever since you were a baby, right? And cats too.
Yeah.
What do you like better, dogs or cats?
That's not optional for me.
You like them both, huh? That's a good one. You could be a good politician in the future.
Yep.
How many dogs do you have now?
Well, I have 4 at my mom's house and these 2 monkeys at my dad's house. So if you count them all, 6.
That's a pretty good handful.
Yep.
Yep. And do you like one over the other? Is there a favorite amongst them all?
No.
You love them all equally? What a good son you are. Gee whiz, you're going to be a great pop to these little guys. What do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be animal control and also a firefighter.
Wow, maybe you could work with Dalmatians. Because aren't they the ones that most firefighters use?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is so great, Julian. Is there anything you want to tell the folks out there as far as if they're thinking about adopting an animal, what they should think about and what they should do?
Yes. If you're going to adopt a dog, you're going to need a parking lot that says reserved parking for pet lovers, and you're going to need a sign that says pets are allowed, compassion and care.
Pretty great. Julian, thank you so much for coming on Animal Zone. Today we're at the California Men's Colony in San Luis Obispo in California. Now this is a prison, and it's a special one because they work with inmates and dogs. And part of that reason is there's an organization called the Sun Care Foundation that has brought on New Life Canine. And with us is Dylan Jameson from Sun Care Foundation.
Hi, great to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. And tell us how this started.
So Sun Care Foundation started back in '94 as a mentoring program, and the founder wanted to have kind of a mission of saving lives.
Now, I understand that the dogs that come here are, you said, helping the inmates, and the inmates, are they helping the dogs too?
Yeah, so the inmates are the dogs' trainers, basically. So Monday through Friday, they're their primary trainer. That's their duty. Their dogs are here 24 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends they go home with volunteers. But the inmates are primarily responsible for training the dogs.
Well, this is a great win-win-win for all involved. Let's go take a look at some of the dogs and the inmates that they work with. Okay, here we are with Josh and his dog, Cole, who you've been working with for some time, since he was a puppy?
Yeah, since he was 8 weeks old.
Wow, and he's learned a lot of things. I mean, I just noticed how you got him to sit down before he started. What are some of the things you've been training him for?
We teach him to try to understand a lot of language, so not really direct commands, but like through body language, just to interpret what you're asking him to do.
So you're using hand signals, and he seems to be doing so good so right now. In fact, I'd like to get down and say hello to Cole. Hey Cole, how are you? Oh, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. Now Cole stays here inside the facility with you, right? In the you guys all sleep together, so to speak?
Yeah, he sleeps at the foot of my bed. He's got a crate. I just put him in there at night, and sometimes I'll leave it open. He can come in and out. Sometimes he'll jump on the bed, but it's a small bed, so.
Are there other dogs in the same room?
Yeah, we've got like 12 dogs in this dorm and a couple in the dorm next door. So.
And have you trained them all to get on with one another?
Yeah, they all get along fine.
What's having him in your life brought to your life?
It's kind of brought, I would say, a sense of purpose. I mean, we get to give to a higher cause, because my brother, he did 2 tours in Iraq, and it visibly changed for me. He came back and he drank a lot of alcohol, and I could really see what the war did to him. And to be able to give back to the veterans in some kind of a way, it's really special. It's a purpose more important than myself, so.
Do you want to work with dogs when you leave here?
I would like to, yes. I would enjoy it.
So it's really an enriching experience for you?
Oh yeah, it's cool because you get to give and receive unconditional love, and then in a way you can give that to somebody else. So it's a nice gift.
Good for the soul, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Animals are amazing what they give us.
Oh yeah.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us today on Animal Zone. We appreciate it. We appreciate and wish you lots of good luck.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Well, here we are with Osa and his dog, Gregor. And Gregor, how old is Gregor?
Gregor is 17 months.
And he's a very loving pup, isn't
Yes, he is very loving and affectionate.
And he has other relatives here, doesn't he?
Yes, that's about six Arizona dog, we call them. They came from Coal Haven, a breeder out in Arizona. His older brother is here, and his older brother is looking to be graduating in August.
So how long have you been working with Gregor?
I have been assigned with Gregor since February 28th of 2018. Hey, bud, can you come this way? I know.
I needed to get a little wash anyway.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
And how is it working with Gregor?
It's been a blessing, and the program and working with Gregor has helped me humanize myself again and reconnect to my human side. Coming into the system, we put up a lot of walls and we shut ourselves off emotionally, and Gregor has been able to help me come out of my role as a convict and then into a human side, right? So more loving, so having to love and care for him helped me re-understand what love is, to really truly care for another being. So it has been a blessing.
That is wonderful. And it looks like you've given a lot to Gregor too. He's a very happy pup.
Yes, but I believe he has given me more than I have given him. So having given the opportunity to be with him and care for him and nurture him has been a blessing, truly a blessing.
What's your biggest challenge in working with Gregor?
I think at time having to really work with my patient, right? They're like a 2-year-old, 5-year-old child, and they are with us sometimes 24 hours out of the day, 7 days a week, and having to learn how to check my emotion and check what I'm going through so that it doesn't transfer down the leash to him has been at times very challenging. But like I said, overall it's been a blessing. It's probably gonna be heartbreaking to let him go, but yeah, it's been a blessing.
Well, it's great to meet you and great to meet Gregor, and you guys are doing a great job here. So thank you for joining us on Animal Zone.
Thank you for coming out.
So Mitch, here we are in your tortoise family. How many tortoises have you got?
Well, there's a total of 15 of them separated into 7 separate enclosures. And they're separated because, quite frankly, some don't get along with others.
I mean, these seem to all be very happy with one another, and they seem to be really attracted to your shoes. Why is that?
Well, they love color, and I picked something that's got a little red in it today, and they very much enjoy the red color.
But they're not going to bite you, huh?
Well, they might bite, but they're not going to hurt. They're not going to hurt through the shoe.
I'll be doing a little dancing around here. Tell me about how you started to adopt turtles and tortoises.
I came across country. I had a turtle in my lap, a box turtle that passed away on the trip. And then when I got to California, I was just 10 years old, I discovered the California desert tortoise, which at that time was just all over. Everybody had taken them off the desert before they became illegal to do that. And then they didn't realize that they could keep them, so they gave them to me.
And so you've been adopting ever since?
I've been adopting ever since, although this is a different species. These are not the California tortoises. These are African sulcata tortoises, native of sub-Saharan Africa.
It seems like they're pretty gentle. They will move slowly. Is there a lot of maintenance to keep a tortoise?
Very little maintenance, fortunately, because as you can see, they're various sizes. These are the small ones. The big males are over 200 pounds. So the maintenance would be someone coming onto the property to maintain them, meaning a vet.
How long do they live?
They'll live, a healthy tortoise will live over 100.
Wow, so you've really got it. Once you've committed to a tortoise as an adopted pet, that's a commitment for most of your life, isn't it?
That's a commitment for not only my life, but for my kids' life, my grandkids' life, and probably my great-grandchildren as well.
And if people want to adopt a tortoise, where would they go?
Probably the best way is just to go on the internet and search for sulcata tortoise adoption. There are a number of organizations. I belong to the California Tortoise and Turtle Club here in Santa Barbara, but there's societies all over the place. And there are lots of tortoises available. You just need to have space for them.
What would you say would be a good amount of space for one tortoise?
Well, if you're going to supplement their diet, you can get away with probably about 1,000 square feet per tortoise. If you're not going to supplement them, theoretically, they need a half an acre per tortoise.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of their diet, what is their diet?
They're pure vegetarians, just like me. They eat grass, they eat weeds, leaves, some hibiscus plants, rose petals, not grocery store items, not oleanders, leaves some figs, and a little bit of fruit also. They enjoy that.
Now, when you have a tortoise that's available for adoption, these agencies that have them, are they looking for homes? Do they go through an adoption procedure and qualify people?
Absolutely. It needs to be a person or a family that's going to be responsible for the animal, and they need to make a commitment, although it's difficult to say for the rest of their life like you would for a dog or a cat. But you need to make provisions for them so that the animal will be taken care of forever.
It sounds like it's something that will bring a lot of joy to some people.
It certainly does. It brings a lot of joy to me.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Mitch.
You're very welcome.
Quite a pleasure to see all your fine four-legged friends here of a different type. Hey, take a look at these loving animals that you can adopt today. And don't worry, if someone beats you to the shelter, there are plenty more wonderful animals ready to find you and their forever home. Today we're going to meet the amazing Acrocats. They've scampered into Santa Barbara to appear at the Center Stage Theater. And we're going to ask the eternal question, can you train a kitty? We're here today with Samantha Martin of Acrocats. What does Acrocats mean?
So they are performing rescued house cats. They were all former orphans, rescues, and strays that came into my life over the years. And we use something called clicker training, which is all a positive reinforcement-based form of training that involves a click and a treat.
Now we noticed on the street you've got a huge mobile home traveling with all these cats?
Yes, it's a cat bus. The fans, we actually got it through a Kickstarter, so the fans helped us get that bus. So that it's much bigger, a lot more room for everybody, and the cats have the back third of the bus, so they're all free roaming, and it's catified with perches and shelves and hammocks and cat trees and everything that a cat could want.
And how many cats do you have all together performing?
Right now we're traveling with 18. But we're expecting 4 bottle babies tomorrow. So in addition to doing the show to demonstrate clicker training, we also do foster and rescue. So we're a mobile foster rescue unit, and we fostered and found homes for 256 cats and kittens since 2009.
This started because you love cats.
Well, I've loved cats and animals all my life. I knew that I wanted to be an animal trainer since I was 10. So I was very fortunate to have my life dream come true. And I love to travel, so I get to travel around the country, meet awesome people, and be with the animals that I love, and be actually changing lives and saving lives, because people walk away from the show and they go home and they work on their relationship with their cat.
What's the trickiest trick you've got a cat to do?
Well, the band is pretty complex, because teaching a cat to drum is not that easy. Also, some of the balancing things where they roll on the balls, that takes several weeks to teach. So some tricks you can teach a cat in 5 minutes, other tricks take weeks and weeks.
So if you want to see the amazing Acrocats in a neighborhood near you, you just go to your website, right?
Yes, we just became a not-for-profit, so we're rockcatsrescue.org. We are 501 now, and that has our show schedule and information on all of the kitties. We go all over the U.S., so usually West Coast one year, East Coast the next, just bringing cats and joy to cat lovers all over.
Weren't there some amazing animals and guests? You know, you who adopt animals from shelters, you are the true heroes. If you want to see more about Animal Zone and other things, check out our website, animalzone.org, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Never was a friend so true, never was a friend like you. Canine, you're my best friend. Canine of mine, friend for all time. So glad you're my best friend. Through thick and thin, we'll see things through. Canine of mine, so true. Did I find you or did you find me? Either way, it's still serendipity. When I saw you, it was plain to see you weren't just another lassie wannabe. Oh, canine of mine, friend for all time. I'm so glad you're my best friend.